Hi, everyone. This is Jacqui Cooper with CryptoMom2 Talk Show, and I want to welcome everyone back to this episode. I want to remind everyone also to like and subscribe because there are some wonderful topics and people that I'll be interviewing and that will be dropping soon. So I want to make sure you're in the loop as they happen. Today, I'm really excited to have a follow-up conversation with someone who is part of a platform and a company that I'm really excited to share again with you because there are so many things happening on the blockchain to include the gaming world. And I know that both as an educator as well as a mom, and also those that, I'm exploring the blockchain myself, I'm seeing the fast evolution of what's going on and how everyone needs to kind of be in the know. And so today we're going to be talking about a company that actually had the foresight to think about how do you navigate multiple games, and they're using the blockchain to do that. But before I bump over to my guest, Timothy, I'm going to just share a little bit about myself for those that are new to Crypto Mom 2, and then I'm going to be sharing a little bit about his background. So for those that don't know my background, I'm an attorney, but again, these shows are not financial advice. They're also not legal advice, even though I do consulting and you're welcome to reach out to me. These shows are educational, and I also wear that hat. I'm a special educator and I'm also a mom. So I believe that we all need to do our own research on multiple platforms. So that way you can kind of double check, cross check the information, because if you are following what's going on the blockchain, there are many things that are going on. Some of them are true and some of them are not true, but this is an exciting time to be in. And I think that there's a lot of growth here, both for those that want careers, as well as those that want to kind of explore this as a way to invest and to explore more for their creativity. So with that being said, I am going to share a little bit about what I learned about my guest, because I am super impressed. He's part of Pocketful of Quarters, or POC, and he's the COO, and Timothy holds a MBA in entrepreneurship and innovation from Harvard Business School, and he's worked in the gaming industry for more than a decade. And I'm really excited to say, to his credit, I don't think I would ever be able to qualify for this. He was nominated for Forbes 30 under 30 twice, and the nomination also involved the video games and the other areas that he was working in. Trust me, when I was in my 30s, I wasn't even thinking about all the things that he's been involved with. So I'm really excited to talk to him about this. And with Pocketful of Quarters, what's really cool about the history, it's the first ever currency with a patent on the ability to be used for cross-game, cross-platform use. And with that, it's a very technical term. I'm going to bounce this over to Timothy so we can actually break it all down and make it simple for everyone to understand how they can use POC to help them game. So Timothy, welcome. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, so interoperability is what we call that, cross-platform, cross-game, and that's huge from what we do, and everything really encompasses who we are as a company is interoperability. When it comes to video games, mobile games have been free to play for a very long time, but they weren't always free to play. About a decade ago, when that all started, Apple kind of set the precedence of what that was going to be. A lot of people said, why would I give my game away for free when, I spent millions of dollars to make it? Well, they were able to prove that user acquisition was more costly than building a video game.
Interesting.
And so the cost to market a game was more than the cost to make a game. And so by trading off and giving the game away for free, you kind of reduce the cost of acquisition because people are more willing to play. We believe that model has a future model in which interoperability is the next step. So by reducing fragmentation, and by fragmentation, I mean the fact that every game has its own token, and those tokens there's 2 million games published on Apple, and none of those tokens are the same. By adding interoperability, we can then extend that model from not only the user acquisition, but now cross-marketing. Now we can do cross-platform. We can move players from one place to the next without having to have tariffs involved, right? So they can move from one place to the next, to the next, to the next. And so from a publisher standpoint, it reduces user acquisition, it increases retention, And it's, you know, twofold, because on the player side, it's extremely, extremely profitable to them, and advantageous, right? Everyone wants their dollar to go further, right? There's a reason, I'm going to use moms as an example. There's a reason Roblox is so successful. Roblox has one currency inside of its game that goes to thousands of games. Moms have, I think, historically have trouble keeping up with what's the new, right? What's hitting, what's popular. How would they know, right? But if you could buy
Also what's safe for their kids to be part of.
Sure, yeah. So I think Roblox kind of sets that safe parameter, because like it's kind of like Minecraft as well, right? Right. You see it, it's very pixelated. It's like it's little Lego squares, like that has to be for kids. That's good, right? Like in your mind, it just passes the mom test, and you're just like, good, let's go for that. And the fact that you can play one gift card, and that gift card goes to 1,000 games, just puts you at ease, because you don't need to know what they're playing. You just know they're playing some kind of Lego game, and this token goes for everything. So Roblox took a $2 LTV, which was the average for most game players. They spent $2 lifetime per year, and they increased it to $300. That's unheard of. And I think blockchain is going to do that for video games. We're going to take a $160 billion industry, and we're going to increase it, 150x. And I think, a lot of people are saying that they're starting to say 8 trillion to 11 trillion is what the metaverse is going to be worth. And I think that's about right. Because if you take the 160 billion and multiply it out, it's going to be in that 8 to 20 trillion range.
Okay, so we've talked about 3 terms, and I understand, probably everyone understands what an app is right now, but to navigate those apps over to the blockchain, I mean, the apps are using Web 2, or how are they doing this?
Yeah, so every video game, every internet website, everything that, like how you have to look at this is games, websites, and apps are essentially all kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
They all are based on a server model. They go back to AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. They have an Ubuntu computer, which is like a computer that's just kind of sitting on a server. It's not like a hard computer, but it has the same logic boards as a regular computer, and it's controlling the system. It's what's doing the math equations to make sure you see what you see, or the action that you're taking is happening, right? Yeah. That's how all these things work. Now, what we're doing is we're taking the token model and we're removing it from the server and putting it on the blockchain. And the reason for that is the blockchain at its basic core is an auditing ledger, right? It's a strand of transactions that are verifiable. And so by removing the token model off the server and putting it on the blockchain, we can create interoperability. We can see when a token was made to when a token was killed. It's almost like the birth certificate of the usage of one piece of coin. And that helps us, because in video games, there's revenue shares, there's waterfalls, there's different people that need to get paid, because the publisher like EA probably didn't make that game. They owe 5, 6, 7 different companies money. And if I were buying game A and playing game B and it was on a server, the server would have no way of telling me that happened on game A and B. It doesn't know.
So basically you're using the token as there's so many levels here. You're using the token as the vehicle for people to communicate between platforms, but you're also using the token, and correct me if I'm wrong, as a contract between these various platforms so other people can get paid.
Yeah. So there's a back end. So what happens, it's like almost like an escrowing system. Think of it like buying real estate.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm buying a piece of property from you, right, I'm going to send my money to the escrow company. The escrow company is then going to hold that money. And then when me and you sign on title day, they're going to then wire that money to you, right? Once that's all been done. It's the same thing for us. That's essentially how a smart contract works. Money goes to A, then goes to B, right? And so what we've done is we've created a token model where quarters go into a game. People buy those quarters with our credit card processing, right? Those quarters then activate the smart contract. They then purchase on the smart contract USDT, or if it's on Clayton, they'll purchase Clayton. If it's on Polygon, it might purchase Polygon, depending on how that contract is set up. Because we do work with like every EVM chain. We work with a lot of chains. So it'll then buy the token that's set up for that smart contract. It'll hold that token in escrow. And then you as a developer who then had the wallet, right, could then transfer your tokens into that wallet that were transferred to you, and clear the system. So that escrow, as soon as you go in, it says, we owe you this much on the smart contract. You go on the back end and say, hey, I'd like to collect what you owe me. The escrow system and the smart contract releases.
Oh, what I'm fascinated about, because I think I mentioned to you, and for those that have been following me, everyone knows that I wrote the book, The Bitcoin Cinderella. The Bitcoin Cinderella actually is now an NFT on OpenSea, and Project Arc helped me do that. But what I'm fascinated to hear on the technical side that you're talking about is the splitting of the wallets and the pain, because I know that there's a lot of behind this, not every platform is able to do that split. So it's amazing the technology and what you've done to be able to cross communicate like that. Did you have problems doing that, or how did you figure that out?
Honestly, the technical side, that's not I can speak to it at a high level, but I'm not an engineer. I want to be honest with you. I know that, one, we've been doing this for a very long time. Most people don't realize we're the oldest blockchain gaming company in the world.
How old are you?
We're going on.
Why don't you give a little bit of history for those that haven't been able to listen to Michael and my interview, which the story is fascinating about his son and everything else like that. Why don't you give a little bit of history so people can learn how remarkable it is?
Yeah, so let me rewind to how I got in maybe, and then what we did from there. So, I've been in blockchain off and on since like 2012, and that's super early, right? But like maybe even earlier than that, like 2010, I was getting Bitcoin, but I didn't know what they were. And I have a funny story that you guys may have heard of. You may have heard of the Silk Road. Yeah. The Silk Road's founder was actually a friend of mine. He lived here in Austin, Texas, and we used to go to the bars together, and he would give us Bitcoin for beer. And I had no idea what it was. I was a college kid. I was a VIP at the clubs that we went to. I got beer for free. Here you go, buddy. Like, whatever. I don't care. So I just gave him beer. And, what happened was a couple of years later, like 2015-ish, I got a call from a friend. He's like, hey, man, do you have all those Bitcoins that you used to get? And I was like, I don't know. Somewhere. And he's like, I think they're worth like $3,000 right now.
Now, was this a physical Bitcoin for those that might not know, or was this online in a wallet?
He set up a wallet for me on an old, I don't know if you remember them, the old Dell Towers. They're about this big.
I think I still have one in my basement.
Yeah, so he set it up for me, and he put it on this computer that I used for college. He built me a wallet, had no idea how to use it. Like back then, everything was so hard to like figure out. There was no like user experience. There's no good UIs. And so like, I didn't know, it was just sitting there, and it was like almost like MS-DOS prompt when you would open things up. You could see it, but it was it was very hard to navigate. And so I just like left it alone. And then I ended up moving to California with my wife, and I got that call. Well, that computer, when I got out of college, I just left it at my mom's house. My mom threw it away when she moved to Colorado. And so she throws it away. I called her about, when it hit 60,000, I called her. I was like, Mom, you know where that computer is? Like, I know I've asked you before. Do you know where it is? And she goes, I know I threw it away. I checked for it. When I moved to this house from the other house, I looked again. I threw it away for sure. I was like, yeah, I think there's like $4 million on that computer.
but you had a wallet, so could you access it from anywhere?
No. So back in the day, those wallets weren't like a MetaMask or anything like that. It was once you had it, it was set to that computer. Unless you like set up like a ledger, and it almost was like a cold wallet, but the wallet was your computer.
So basically, you're going to have people now in a dump going through to try to find that.
Good luck. It's somewhere between Texas and Colorado. So I don't know which dump it's at, but good luck. So that happened, and then so I started getting really more into buying and investing when I started seeing that. Well, after the first call, right? When you said it was like $3,000, but I started buying. I got into it, and then I got into a lot of tokens very, very early. I got Ethereum at like $9. I got Ripple before I thought it wasn't at the time I didn't think it was a bad coin, but now I'm not a big fan of Ripple, but I got Ripple like 0.00 like 9 or something like that. And then, but what really set off my entire crypto journey was, I wanted to ask my wife to marry me, and I all my money was in my company, and I was like, all right, I have $1,000. I'm going to put it into blockchain. I'm going to put it into crypto. This was like really early 2016, 2017, maybe. And I turned $1,000 in like 50 grand in like 3 months.
Wow.
And my buddies.
Now, I just want to say to everyone, this is not always the way it works. So again,
it's definitely not the way it works.
You have got to always, this is not financial advice, and do not put anything into a cryptocurrency that you're not willing to lose, because again, there's extreme risk. But go on with your story. I love it.
Yeah, I say those same things. Do not ever invest something that you can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
If you can't afford to lose it, if you're stressed out that it's in there, you couldn't afford it to begin with, don't do it.
Exactly right.
I put the $1,000 and I said, whatever I make, I'm going to put it into a ring for my wife. And my buddies that I ran this company with, it was a brand new startup. They're like, oh, just buy like a $10,000 ring and put the rest in the company. And da da da. I was like, nope, I'm buying her this ring. I said I would do it. To me, this ring costs $1,000, but to her, And so I ended up buying her a $50,000 diamond ring. It's a beautiful ring. She said yes, and we got married. But then, I sold my company to a little bit later to Xbox, which is why I have the boards behind me.
Yeah, I see it.
And so I sold that game company to Xbox and the games to Xbox, and I was looking for my next thing. And at that time, Fortnite had just come out. It was and it was the first free-to-play game on console. And I talked about free-to-play earlier, and I was like, now that there's free-to-play on console, people everywhere will demand it. The thing about consumers is once they know something can be free, it always has to be free, right? They'll expect it to be free. They'll demand that it's free. And so I was like, I think cryptocurrencies can go in video games. I think there could be one token for all video games, and we can start to build this the right way. And as a gaming professional, I'd already sold 2 studios. I'd worked with Chris Cross, who's like my best friend, but he created Medal of Honor. He was on the first World of Warcraft team. He was on the Doom team. He was head of Nexon, DreamWorks, THQ. Like, he literally built the studio with Steven Spielberg. So one of the most prolific game designers of all time. And him and I have built studios. I was like, this is what I want to do. He's like, this is great. This is perfect, Tim. And so I always like to be first at everything I do. So the reason I was 30 under 30 is I was the first person to ever make an influencer-based game. My wife's an influencer. She's been one of a Webby award-winning social media managers. And so I was like, user acquisition, again, is very expensive. So I was like, what if we could put an influencer into a video game and let them be our user acquisition and not have to pay for it, and just give them a revenue share? And that idea went really well. And I sold that company. But so we ended up like consulting like the Kim Kardashian game, the Gordon Ramsay game, the Guava Juice game, and Kim Kardashian did $100 million in the first month. And so that was all in my 20s, actually. That's how you get to be 30 under 30, you got to be under 30. And so that was in my 20s. And then I was ready for my next thing, and I wanted to be the first one to do it. So I know first one to market has the best chance. And so I started researching, and I found Mike and his son, and he had a similar idea because of Fortnite at the same exact time as me. And I was like, man, this kid is on something. Like, this is what we need in the industry. And, it's funny. I reached out to him on a LinkedIn message and said, hey, I like what you're doing. I think you're 100% on the right track, but video games are very insular. If you don't know somebody, you're not going to get into the video game industry. It's going to be very hard. I think, again, you're on the right track. Let's set up a call, because I would like to help you. I want to be a part of what you're doing. And he said, okay. And then it's funny because we got him Mike's a tech investor, and he doesn't like to sign NDAs. And in the video game industry, everyone has like an NDA. It's kind of like a circle of trust. Yes. It really doesn't mean anything, right? No. To sign it, but it's like, now that you sign it, I can talk freely.
It's like the handshake, it's the old handshake.
And so I sent him an NDA. I was like, oh, sign this before the call. He's like, I'm not signing that. I was like, sign this before the call. I was like, I can't talk to you if you don't sign it. He's like, please just sign it. And once you're in my circle, like, you're in everyone's circle. Like, you're in the circle. Like, sign the NDA. He's like, well, why don't you just talk to me without talking to me? I was like, that doesn't make sense. Just sign the NDA. And so we started working together. He agreed that I would be a good fit to help. So I come on. Well, actually, they're actually flying into LA to meet with Michelle Phan, who was one of our first investors. She was the creator of Ipsy, one of the original YouTubers, had like 10 million followers, sold her company to L'Oreal, I think, for like $2 billion. And so she's great, but she was really big into blockchain very, very early. And she was one of the first investors. And I went down, it was during E3, and I went down with them to the Staples Center, and I helped them close that financial round. And as we walked out, George turned to me, a little 12-year-old kid, and goes, yeah, so let's talk about salary. And it was the weirdest thing. And Mike's like, hold on, you gotta negotiate with him. I was like, no, George, keep talking. Let's talk about it. And so, I signed on right then. We started working together. And then George has had his player's perspective the whole way through. But it's really been Mike and I that have built this, and with George's like, hey, this doesn't look good for gamers. This doesn't look, and so I come from the industry, right? And I'm building based on what I know the industry would want. And Mike is coming from a tech perspective, and he's building what he thinks investors would want. And then George pops in every now and again and says, this needs to be better for players. This needs to be better for players. And so
you always need the perspective of the user.
Yeah.
Because again, sometimes, even as a teacher, we got to put our shoes and our eyes as the child again.
Yeah. So he pops in from time to time. He'll get on our executive calls. He sits on the board still, and he'll tell us like, hey, this doesn't look right. Like, I wouldn't play this. I wouldn't do that. And so we'll change things based on those perspectives. But he is still a student. He needs to focus on school. We're based here in Austin. They're in New York. I do think he's looking at the University of Austin now, so he can get more involved and go to UT and then come over here when he's not at school and work. But so we started then, and so why I say we're the oldest, Jacqui Cooper, I don't know if Mike talked about this. Jacqui Cooper, the founder of Matic Polygon, actually worked for us. He was our first engineer before he created Matic Polygon, actually. So Matic Polygon came out of a conversation that we were all having, where I was getting mad at both of them as engineers, telling them that no one's going to pay 99 cents for their tokens and 99 cents for their Ethereum gas fee. And it's funny, we're arguing about 99 cent Ethereum gas fee. People would be
now it's so much higher.
Now they're $1,000, right? They're like, yeah. So I was arguing with them. I was like, look, no one's going to pay double. It's just never going to happen. And they're like, well, credit card processing, if they spend more than 99 cents, they're saving money. And I was like, doesn't matter. We got to fix this. And JT came up with the idea of forking Ethereum for the first time and created the first layer 2, which became Matic Polygon. And Mike and I, we still kick ourselves for it today, had the opportunity to invest in Polygon at a $2 million valuation and to be the first check-in. And even a $10,000 check at that 2 million would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think they're worth like 10 billion now.
I know. I mean, and that's why it's really important for everyone who's on this call, the audio, definitely pop over to the YouTube side. It is important to keep up with current events, because there are different things that are going to be forking with Ethereum and different things that are happening within a lot of the different platforms. And again, you got to do your research. You got to know when to get in and when to get out. But, and also, like you said, be comfortable losing things, because the market is always in flux. So I have the screen up. And I wanted to kind of bring people back to the platform, because I want them to explore it and enjoy it. So the screen that I have up for those that are on the audio side, it shows ready to play, compete to win prizes, powered by Quarters, and there's Fall Guys, Fortnite, Marbles. So you have 83 plus games on there. That's huge.
Yeah. So this is just one part of what we do. After 2017, we went into the first real bear market in blockchain, right? And we also went through COVID. Mm-hmm. And so we weren't able to go and meet with people. We weren't able to go and find video games. It's very hard to find games and work with games when you can't go to conferences. And like really now is the first year ever that we're really back to conferences.
Yeah.
And so this was our pivot a bit to, I said, when I was like, when everyone else shut down, like Forte and Engine and all those guys stopped working, none of them came back until 2020 when the NFT rise came. When they all stopped working, I said, let's pivot. Let's work on user acquisition. As a former indie developer, and I can tell you the most important thing is users. Every artist wants someone to look at their painting, and every gamer and every game developer is essentially an artist. They just want people to play their game and have
Exactly
fun.
right.
And let's go find the people that'll do that. And so what we did was we took really solid esports platform, or we saw them missing for esports platforms. And I kind of took in the idea of, everyone really likes Twitch, and Twitch was big at the time.
Yeah.
But watch me play is so minute, right? Like it's kind of like, you got to think of it from the perspective of the consumer. Watch me play is minute. Come play with me is much better. And we built this based on that. And so, if you've ever seen a kid sitting at the park watching people play basketball, he's probably enjoying himself, but what he really, really wants is them to ask if he'd like to play.
Exactly right.
And so what we did was we went and found a bunch of streamers. We gave them our token to seed the market. And we said, hey, invite these people to come play with you. Don't just let them watch you play. Let them come play with you, and use this platform to help schedule it, to help organize it, to help do these things, and we'll help you grow. And we called it like the Mr. Beast model. Mr. Beast is the largest YouTuber in the world. Why? Through philanthropy. He gives back to his community. He pays it back into it. And so by us supporting you, you can support them, and they're going to follow you. So we actually our head of
return. Yep.
Yeah, our head of platform, Nick, actually started as a streamer. And when he started with us, he had 2 concurrent viewers. He is now the largest Fortnite streamer in Europe. He has thousands of concurrent users, has the biggest tournaments in all of Europe, Benji Fishy, and we have world champion Fortnite players like Reverse 2K and Clicks and Booga all playing in these tournaments now. And so that was our user acquisition model. We were able to subsidize Epic and Activision and give a kid $10 to host a tournament, and in return he would give us 1,000 new players. The average cost for a paying player in video games is like $36. We were able to reduce that to like 10 cents by using this esports model and using this come play with me idea. And it really worked. And so now what we're doing is we have those 83 games. We also have a lineup of about 65 games that are about to come out. We've launched 2 games over the last month. One's called Take the Throne. One's called Fall Elder Orb. Fall Elder Orb was the first game ever on blockchain on Steam. It was the first game. It was on the second game ever blockchain on Epic Store. It was the #1 game on the Epic Store for 2 weeks in a row. And what we did was we had all those streamers and all those players that we have play that game. And I think what's another beautiful thing about what we do is it's almost like a publisher model where we're giving you marketing, we're helping you with PR, we're helping you with streamers. We don't take a single cent of revenue ever. We believe that if you're successful, we'll be successful, and we kind of put our money where our mouth is. Our model is to make money off of transactions, right? We're the only crypto company that has their own credit card processing. We could sell both game tokens, which there's only 2 other companies in the world that can sell game tokens. And we can sell crypto with a credit card. We're the only ones in the world that can sell crypto.
So, and we'll explore that in a quick second. So I have, for those that are looking on the video, you'll see it. For those that are on the audio, I'm changed pages. And so now it says Quarters, the metaverse coin. So do you want to define really quickly what a metaverse is for those that might not understand, because it's being thrown around a lot, that word?
Yeah, a metaverse is a community of people that share the same social initiative. That's the best way I can describe it. A metaverse doesn't have to be a video game. It doesn't have to be an online space. It doesn't have to be, well, maybe an online space. It does have to be that, because it has, but it's a general community of people in which there's a shared initiative. So like if you were outside as a group, you could be considered a metaverse if you guys are all doing the same thing. So
it's sort of like a co-op just done online.
Kind of. It's kind of like clubs. Like I look at them like a bunch of clubs, right? You're joining a metaverse. Let's say, you can just go to a theme park on the internet. And, I have this theory that, the reason metaverses are going to be big is because we're constantly secluding ourselves to our homes. If you think about the things that have become, the things that have become unicorn products over the last 5 years have been things that have helped seclude us to our homes. Things like Ring, you no longer have to answer your door, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can do it from your couch. DoorDash, you no longer have to go to a restaurant to eat restaurant food.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on. Amazon, why? They were able to prove people would wait 2 days rather than go to the store and get it themselves.
Yeah.
So we're becoming more seclusive. And what metaverses are a way for you to become, be active within a community, to have a social presence without ever having to leave your home.
True.
So they're like online communities that share some kind of idea or vision or whatever.
So when you say the metaverse coin, you're using it right now within the gaming side. Are you foreseeing that you're
We're
going
using it for a
to
lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about some of the things that
Okay.
we're using it for.
That'll be an episode coming up.
Yeah, Jennifer will get mad at me. So I don't want to make the PR team mad. They like to say stuff first.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll have a follow-up. So everyone needs to like and subscribe. So you can hear about the follow-up.
Let's put it this way. We don't believe that gaming will be the end of what we do. We're looking to be like the Visa or the Apple of the internet, right? Our patent protects us on transactions. So when you think of what a metaverse is and how that works, I believe Unity, which we have Unity is the largest video game engine in the world. We have a partnership. We're the only verified blockchain partner on Unity. You do not need a blockchain engineer to work with our product. You don't need to ask us permission. You could literally just go to the Unity asset store and plug and play, pick what chain you want to work with that we're partnered with, and it instantly is available to you, no problem. And I think that one helps us decentralize, right? It's kind of like Ethereum. You don't need their permission to build on Ethereum, just go and do it. But two, I think it makes it very much easier for the world to start to build out their own token models and their own economics. You don't have to call your token quarters, right? I don't know if Mike got into this. We have a white label product. You can change the token name to whatever you like. You can roll up your own sidechain with Binance or Polygon. We can help you do that. We can get you a ZK rollup so you can remove your metadata off.
So I'm going to interrupt you a second because, my hat is a lawyer. I know you went through a lot of process with the SEC and other compliance. So there's a lot of federal laws, a lot of state laws. If someone like myself wanted to create a token using, your guidance and everything, do they have to think about that or no? Interesting.
We've gone so far into getting this right. So we work directly with the SEC. Back before, Garlinghouse was over there. Back before, we built what they're going after people for now. Like we were the ones that like were standing side by side, like, hey, what about this? No, okay, what about this? No.
So does that mean that I can create a token for the Bitcoin Cinderella?
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about compliance. You don't have to worry about regulation. You don't have to worry about a legal securities offering. And you could launch that token on Apple, Google. You can put it into Xbox, PlayStation if you wanted to. You can put it in Steam. You can put it, so you'd have full distribution platform access. And like I said, because of our SEC no action letter, we are the only people in the world that have their own credit card processing for both cryptocurrency and gaming tokens. So you don't need an on-ramp through Coinbase. You don't need to have them go to a DEX.
Wow.
They can literally buy right off your website and have full access to your token.
So would I be able to offer the book through the token?
Yeah, you could. So
we might have to talk about that.
You could literally build like a Shopify website, and then plug and play our system into it. And this is what I was getting at. And instantly have your own token model on that website that is sellable, that is usable, and you can sell any of your items. Think of it like going to Disney, and if Disney was like, hey, we want you to use this cashless system it's the same thing. It'd be a token model, and we can track it.
That's phenomenal. Everyone who's listening, you're going to have to stay tuned because I'm not tech savvy, but I think I'm going to try to explore this. And with maybe Tim and Mike's help, I'll be able to kind of launch the Bitcoin Cinderella. But I know that we need to wind it up. I know your time is really, really valuable because you're hopping off to other things. There's so many things that we could be talking about, but last minute thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, I think let me try to finish that one last piece about the
Go right
metaverse
for it.
stuff, because like I do believe Unity is going to be the websites of the future. I believe you're going to, when you go to buy clothes, I think you're going to walk into a 3D virtual world instead of going to a mall. Malls
I
are
agree.
dying. A lot of
I
people
agree.
don't know this, but malls are dying very, very fast.
Yeah.
I think you're going to walk into a 3D virtual world where you could shop. You're going to pick an item. That item is going to be digitally given to you as an NFT, and then the real world one will be mailed to your house.
H&M did something, I guess it was a number of months ago, with that idea in mind. So yeah.
I think that's where we're heading. Now, our patent says that if it happens in a video game, an engine, any of those things, right? Anything like that, and it creates an on-chain transaction, that would be infringing on our patent. So if you believe that it's not really cross-platform, cross-game, the patent is for zero click. It's for any transaction that happens within a website or a game that is built in Unity, Unreal. We list them all out, and it creates an on-chain transaction.
Yeah.
That is what our patent does. So if you were to go and buy a shirt, right, and that shirt was then happened through Unity, let's say the website was built in Unity, and that happened, you would be infringing on our patent.
Interesting. So guys, again, patents are really, really powerful, because when you have an idea and you have a patent, that means that, it's exclusive to whoever the creator is. And the fact that Timothy and Michael and POC have gone down this path, everyone should look at what they're doing, because again, if you're gaming or you have kids gaming, again, you're spending money, and this is a way that you can, like you said, cross-communicate across games.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating, fascinating world that we're living in. So thank you so much for being on. I know we're going to be talking again. Remember, everyone, like and subscribe. And as I always say, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all part of one world, and we're so interconnected. Thank you so much.